For this exercise, you are asked to rearrange 20 statements in such a way as to convince young people not to start smoking. What you have to do is arrange them in a branching tree diagram, something like this. It may be necessary for you to make up your own additional words to make the branches flow properly. So for this exercise, arrange these sentences in a branching tree. You can either do it by hand or you can do word art. And then pause this video until you have done so. Then I will show you my suggested model answer. So here's the model answer. We start by using the word smoking because that is what it is about. And you'll notice that it starts with some history of smoking and then the current situation about smoking. The history of smoking is that it was thought to cure stomach ailments and children were taught how to smoke. Now people start smoking for different reasons. There are reasons for starting to smoke, and then of course there are reasons against. Remember, it's young people who haven't started smoking yet, so I'm wanting to keep them on my side as long as possible. So I'll start with the reasons for. Those reasons we divide between individual reasons for smoking and maybe social reasons. We start with individual reasons because we take the person, the reader of this seriously, and we focus directly on the reader first. First, the reader as an individual. It gives him something to do with the hands and it's good for the nerves. The individual as a social being, it unites young people, it cures loneliness. You'll notice that I try and make the branches quite shallow. Now we get to the argument against. And what I'm wanting to do here is build the argument from the weakest arguments to the strongest. So the weakest argument against, because then he might still be on my side, the reader. The weakest argument is cosmetic. It stains your hands, makes your breath smell. But then also, it's financially problematic, expensive, it's habit forming, it's hard to give up, and advertising makes it even more difficult. Finally, the more serious ones are health problems. It poisons the system, which is fine, it doesn't talk about symptoms, but then symptoms, it causes shortage of breath, then it even creates a sickness such as bronchitis, and finally, it may kill you because it causes cancer. So it's written in such a way that if we start scaring the reader here, by the time they get really scared and stop reading, we've actually made our point. If they haven't, they will carry on reading until we make our point. So how do we translate this branching tree diagram into our essay? In the first place, it gives us our title. Our essay is going to be about smoking, then and now. So we can start by writing our title, smoking, then and now. And because it is a title, we will go up into our formatting styles and we will select title style for this. So we highlight it and we select the style as title. And now we go and fetch our branching tree diagram and it becomes part of the essay. We simply put it in there. And now we have to say the first part, which is introduction. So we select heading 1 and we say introduction. And what is the introduction? We're going to say what this is about. So we go and we have a look at the first two items on our branching tree diagram. This article is about the history and the current situation regarding smoking. Full stop. So you will notice that in the introductory sentence we explain what the rest of the essay will be about. So under the introduction we simply mention what the next two headings will be, which means that we now have to add the next heading. So we will select heading 1 again, and we will type in the heading smoking then. And while we're on it, we will also go and we will select heading 1, and we will make the next one smoking now. Those are the two headings that the branching tree diagram tells us what has to happen. There isn't enough information here to have a lot of text, so we will start by simply writing a sentence, and we will say, in the 16th century, smoking was regarded as beneficial and children were taught how to smoke. Under the heading Smoking Now, you will find that we now have two subheadings, for and against, and then we have even level 3 headings. So we'll start now by first putting in a single sentence. Now there are reasons for and against smoking. Full stop. And then we can start adding the 3 level 2 headings. So 2 level 2 headings. So it'll be reasons for smoking, and then reasons against smoking. Under the heading reasons for smoking, we will now again write a single sentence explaining what will happen. And then we will add level 3 headings for individual and another level 3 heading for social. Then we will write the sentence that explains individually why it would be good. It gives your hand something to do, and it's thought to be good for the nerves. Similarly, we can now write the introductory sentence under the heading social. Then we get to the reasons against smoking, and again we have 3 next level headings that we have to put in. Before that, we have to write our sentence. There are cosmetic, economic, and social reasons against starting to smoke. Now we have to make 3 level 3 headings, one for cosmetic, one for economic, and one for health. And once we have all the headings in, we go back and add the little sentences after each one of them. Under cosmetic, smoking stains the hands and gives one halitosis or smelly breath. Under economic, it's expensive, habit forming, hard to give up, advertising doesn't make it easy to quit. And under health, we say from a health perspective, it poisons the system, causes shortage of breath, bronchitis, and even cancer. Now it is necessary for us to go and tidy up the rest of the document. So what you can see is that we now have an entire outline of all the headings and one sentence under each, which effectively forms an abstract. And so at this stage, it's always a good idea to save an additional copy that you can keep aside and have as a basic structure of your document. Of course, this is an academic paper, so we actually have to insert a reference or two. And this whole diagram from about smoking I found in a book by Hilda Jacobson. So I will use Mendeley. I will type in Jacobson, and there is Jacobson's basic communication skills, and I will just say reference, and Mendeley will actually give me the citation, put it in there and cite it for me. And there it is, Jacobson 1987. And because it's an academic paper, we would also want to insert a bibliography. So we run down to the bottom of the document, we add references, and we go references, insert bibliography. And there it adds it for us. But since we have a diagram, it is necessary for the diagram to be labeled. So we go insert caption, and under caption it already tells us, is it figure 1? Indeed it is. And we say layout of this document, and we attribute it, and we say adapted from Jacobson 1987, and we click on, and it knows it's a figure, and the figure goes below the item, and there we have our caption made. To add the final touches, we need a table of contents. So we go up here to table of contents, and we select the first automatic table over here, and indeed it puts it in there. And page numbering is correct, references are there, and then we can say insert table of figures, select that, and there we have the figure done, and our document is ready to send to our supervisor.